Hello and welcome to We Random episode 62. We are recording live Tuesday, December 14th, 2021. We're going to run through a couple of random topics. B is going to tell you a little bit more about that. But B, do you know how you make holy water? You boil the hell out of it. That's right. We'll be right back.
Almost Qualified Productions.
Let's get crazy!
Experts don't have this much fun.
Welcome to We Random, episode 62. I'm Landmark. Somewhere over there is Skonzii. How you doing tonight, Skonzii?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing all right. We are here on We Random, as always, to bring you our Wheel of Doom. On the Wheel of Doom, we have some carefully selected topics. When we spin that wheel, the wheel will go round, and where it stops, no one knows. But once it stops, we will get mad online about whatever topic comes up. Now, for those of you who are new, welcome. For those of you who are returning, thank you. This will be our final episode in 2021. But don't you fret. We are going on our holiday hiatus. But in the spirit of Christmas and giving gifts, we have the gift for you of a very special random episode. That episode will be releasing Christmas week. So keep your eyes on Skonzii's YouTube. Keep your ears on your favorite podcast app at We Random, and you will see that very episode. Also, if you are one of the very special, lovely people who is one of Skonzii's Patreon supporters, you can find that right now as part of your Patreon perks. So, get ready.
I don't know how to follow it up. That was like your Mean Gene Okerlund going on there. But I think we're just going to spin the wheel and see what happens.
All right, let's do it.
We got a lot of stuff on the wheel here. Some good, some not so good. And we're going to start off with some interesting. Something about math. B, why are we talking about math?
We are talking about math education. As the United States struggles to figure out how to educate students about history, even a concrete subject like mathematics is not immune to controversy. Schools are collapsing math tracks to put kids of all abilities in the same classes and adding data science courses that carry the same prestigious calculus, which was long seen as the gateway to a career in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics fields, and to elite colleges. Another heated issue in terms of mathematics is how to determine the extent to which mathematical education should include real-world problems involving racial and social inequity. These changes have pitted mathematicians and math educators against each other and sparked criticism from parents who are upset by the elimination of the gifted and talented math tracks. People who appreciate and are proponents of these math changes say that students are able to see more value in math when the curriculum reflects them and what they see around them. Opponents say that the new movement effectively dumbs down math education. So this was kind of an article I saw that had like the splashy title of "Is math education racist?" But then like it didn't actually address the question of
Right.
Is math education racist? It was more like, here are all the things that are happening and like
Right.
here is what we're seeing. And I mean, I think it's interesting, like me being a individual who works with students and with students who in particular, a lot of my students are not terribly fond of math. Like this hits pretty close to home for me because I think there's kind of I don't know how I want to say this. Basically, this is kind of like, remember Theater Guy from last week where he's like, you just need to deal with it. There's like very much an air of that when it comes to mathematics where it's like, well, if you can't do calculus, then you don't deserve to be an engineer. You don't deserve to be a computer programmer. You don't deserve to do nothing except for work at a job that's not going to pay you more than $10 an hour. And like, that's not great, right? Like,
True.
that should not be the way that people approach that. But there is a large segment of people who approach these things in that way when they're hesitant to change. So I don't know. As someone who's not necessarily in the education space, what are your broad thoughts on this topic?
Yeah, so I also was diving into this article expecting there to be a lot of, explain to me why math is racist. And I don't know that there was a lot of that. I think this was definitely a sensationalized headline. But some of the stuff that it talked about was there was one specific teacher that it talked a lot about. And it's worth reading, I think, for her story alone, where she teaches a lot, her primarily black students. And it talks about the way that she addresses the class. It talks about the way that she makes it more about them. She relates it more to them. She helps bring them into the fold more. And by doing that, she's getting much more engagement, better test results, and that sort of thing. I think that story is amazing, and she's doing an amazing job. And she was one of the finalists for Teacher of the Year a couple of years ago. Sounds like she deserves it. I mean, that, like I said, that story alone is worth checking out this article. But the rest of it, I don't know. I like the idea that you're going to take, I'm not going to say lower performing, but students who don't have the aptitude and putting them in a class with a bunch of people who have advanced aptitude, and you're bringing them down into that class, it seems to me like that's a very, very bad idea. What we really need to do, and I see a lot of this in this country, right, where we try to find the average, and we shouldn't be finding the average. We should be finding the exceptional. Now, if there are people who are below that average, we need to get their asses up. If they have the ability, if they have the desire, we need to put extra attention, extra time, extra focus on those individuals and help raise them up. But we cannot do that at the expense of those who are exceeding. That's a way of bringing the average down. That's a really, really bad idea. We have to continue to push and excel those individuals who are exceeding, but we have to put extra attention on those who need to be lifted up. I 100% agree with that. Some of the other things I talked about is how do you relate things to these individuals? And they talked about things as simple as putting people on the cover of the book that look like them, which I think makes sense. Some of the way that these phrases and questions and word problems are phrased make them more relatable to these individuals. I mean, I don't hate that idea. I mean, we all kind of grew up with the same thing. If Sally and Bob both have $5 and they jump on the train and they head to Clarksville, who gets the apple first? Who gives a fuck? Nobody gives a shit about Bob and Sally or Clarksburg or the apple. Right? None of us give a shit about that. But it also didn't hinder me. And I come from a privileged place, right? I went to a school that I didn't have any issues with, and I was able to, perform well. But if there are other people that you can rewrite that as a different way, and it's going to help people relate better, help people grasp that concept better, then fucking do it. Who cares? Nobody cares about Bob and Sally. So if we have to change the names and change what they're doing, then so be it. Put it in a way that makes sense to more people. I'm fine with that. So is it racist? I think the answer is no. But I think that there's I think that the premise here that they're really jumping on is there are people who are struggling in school, and maybe a large number of them are minority students. I don't know. They didn't talk about those numbers. And maybe there's a way that we can craft education in a way that relates more to these individuals and helps raise them up, which I 100% agree. Like we know that the people who are in charge look like me. They don't look like insert somebody who doesn't look like me, right? So of course these things are going to be slanted that direction. So yes, like everything else in this country, it does need to be, that's the perfect word, inclusive. It needs to be more inclusive, and it needs to be more diverse. Like absolutely.
Yeah, and where I was going to go with that is I think about this like computer programming, right? Like people will say that computer programming and programming languages can be racist or biased based on who is programming those languages, right? So in terms of math education, who is dictating that curriculum? What is their lens? Like, what is their background? Not to say that it is, but I think that's an interesting approach, right? To think about one of the things that this teacher did is she tried to use like games like Minecraft to help these students scaffold their skills. As where other people would say, oh, you just have to use this book or you have to use this other
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
Like, however you can get them to get the skills, give them the skills. Like,
Right.
that's the important part, is like people need to just kind of get over themselves, and whatever allows people to understand what it is that they're doing is important. So an example that I use all the time, I work with a lot of students who are like super into like gaming and stuff like that. And when I'm trying to explain academic requirements to them, I say, okay, you need to complete 120 credits for graduation. Think about this as if you were in a battle and you needed to deal 120 hit points worth of damage. If you take 150 point attack, fine, you did what you needed to do. If you got 119 point attack, you still got 1 point you need to do. And they're like, oh, okay, like that makes sense to me now. And it's like, not a lot of people would think to explain it in that way, but I'm trying to take something that like makes sense to me because I've been through it. I know it, like I know this like the back of my hand basically, and make it into something that somebody else knows like the back of their hand, right? So they can kind of make that comparison. And I think that's where we sometimes struggle with math, because we're like, no, it's only this. You have to do it this way. But if there's other ways to do it and get it done, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. So as you're talking, it really reminded me of some leadership training that I've taken in the past called situational leadership. If anybody out there is familiar with that. And really what it focuses on, and I'm not going to break down all the specifics, but it's got like 4 different quadrants that you kind of place the learner in. And the goal is that you have to understand where that individual is. Is this an individual who is brand new to something? And so you need to describe it very, very succinctly, and you have to be very, very deliberate, and you have to be extra cautious, and you have to make sure that you're explaining things in as much detail as possible, blah, 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 right? So if you're teaching someone how to cook macaroni and cheese from a box, right? If it's my 10-year-old nephew, I don't know how old he is, I should know. But if it's my 10-year-old nephew, I might say, look, this is how much water you need to put in the pan. And this is why you want to use cold water instead of warm water. Now make sure you use 2 hands when you carry it to the stove, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? Where if Brian hasn't cooked macaroni and cheese out of a box before, but he knows how to cook and he knows his way around the kitchen, I'm going to throw, well, he's blind, so I'm not going to throw him the box of mac and cheese. I'm going to hand him the box of mac and cheese, say, go make the fucking mac and cheese, right? So it's handling people with where they're at. The other thing that I just want to add on additionally, and no, by the way, Wiggum, they don't all have green hair. I would be super, super, super interested if there was an actual conversation about whether or not math is racist or has, like, because in my mind, 2 + 2 is 4. Period. Doesn't matter if you're black, white, purple, green. It doesn't matter. 2 + 2 is 4. It's that simple. But is it that simple? I mean, I certainly think it is. I would wager just about anything on the fact that it is that simple. But it would be very interesting if people had an actual conversation around it not being that simple. That would be interesting to me.
Well, and that's why I compared it to programming languages, right? Because who's teaching you how to do this? Like, their slants in their thoughts and their opinions and their biases are coming through in how they're teaching it to you versus like what you actually have to do, adding 2 + 2 to 4.
Yeah, and Old Man Wiggum really kind of echoes the same things we're saying, which is, teaching should never be about making the student adapt to the teaching style. It should always be about adapting a teaching style to the student. That's absolutely right. Yeah. Like, you have to figure out what it is that's going to resonate with them, and that's how you need to give it to them. So that's why teachers are underpaid. All right, spinning the wheel.
All right, let's go.
What are the odds that we get something else that's not horrible? Oh my God.
Like 1 of 10.
Michael Sheen. Like, I don't know much about this guy, but this article was like, we need to talk about this. Like, we have to at least put this out there.
All right, so I don't know who this is, but Hollywood actor Michael Sheen revealed how he sold his houses and gave the proceeds to charity as he declared himself to be, quote, a not-for-profit actor. Sheen was tasked with organizing the 2019 Homeless World Cup and said the event was a turning point for him. When funding the project fell through at the last moment, Sheen sold his own houses to bankroll the project. After recovering financially, Sheen said that he realized that wealth and status could be used for all different purposes. He has pledged to carry on using his money by using that to fund future projects and charity. So, I don't know. This is what it is. But,
Yeah, I just thought it was something that was worth putting out there. Like, it's a Welsh actor. As I was looking through here, he was in Good Omens, which was a TV series on Amazon, I think. And that's clearly where I know him from. That was a great show if you haven't seen it. But yeah, so basically he was supporting this charity and found out that the funds weren't going to be available to make this, whatever the deadline or whatever the metric is they're trying to hit. And the fucking dude sells 2 houses to fund it himself. Like, what? Like, that's insane. I mean, like, it's a lot of people are willing to, lend their name and stuff to different projects, but this dude sold his houses to fund this. It's insane. And I think this isn't the greatest actor in the history of the world, right? But yeah, I just think this is amazing. This is an amazing story. This is the kind of thing that we need more of, is people who are, doing everything they can to help out. Like, how important is it the guy has 2 houses? I mean, he himself says, who cares? I can live wherever I need to live. So it's this is just one of those really, really good feel-good stories that I felt needed to get a little bit more press. At least what little press we can give it in our little podcast.
Cool.
It's nice to have some good stories. Have some good people on here, other than me.
To yell about like Antonio Brown or something.
Or the Torrance, California Police Department. All right, make sure you plug your ears if you don't like swearing on this one.
So which of our drops are we using? Because there's a lot of them that we...
People like you make me sad.
All right, so...
New drop.
A dozen Torrance, California police officers and recruits are under investigation for exchanging racist and homophobic text messages. The broad scope of the text conversations, which prosecutors said went on for years, has created a crisis for the department and could jeopardize hundreds of criminal cases in which these officers either testified or made arrest. The officers' comments spared no color or no creed. They joked about Jewish people, assaulting members of the LGBTQ community, using violence against suspects, and lying during an investigation into a police shooting. While none of these officers currently face criminal charges in relation to the messages, the exchanges have led to the dismissal of at least 85 criminal cases involving the officers. So basically, since 2013, again, remember when everybody's like, oh, John Gruden was sending those messages 10 years ago, and it's okay. Since 2013, this group of officers has been involved in at least 7 serious use of force incidents, including 3 that ended in the deaths of Black and Latino men, according to police use of force records. Although the officers' actions were found to be justified in those cases, experts say that they should now be re-examined in the context of these messages. So, again, this is the context of, yes, okay, so, we've yelled about 6 people and whatever, and somebody might go, oh, well, it's 12 people. But, again, multiple people over years who are sharing these things, and these are people who take an oath to serve and protect you as a citizen. Like, get out of here with that. I'm not going to curse. I'll leave that to you, Skonzii. This is your thing, so it's time for you to make our clip for the week. Clip, let's go.
So I'm trying to look for the exact quote where it talked about like cases being dismissed. I didn't see that in your write-up, so I'm not sure where that fell.
Yeah, that's in the it didn't, obviously they didn't say like which cases, it just said that it was at least 85 cases.
At least 85 cases dismissed. At least 85 cases dismissed, right? So that's what we heard.
Yes.
How many of these officers have been dismissed?
That would be the number. Let's see. We just talked about math, so I don't think it's 1. I don't think it's 2. I don't think it's 12. I think it's actually 0.
Right. So, I'm trying to hold back the rage. My head is about to fucking pop off its shoulders right now. So for 10-ish years, we got these motherfuckers out here just fucking being racist and misogynistic and homophobic and every other fucking horrible thing you can possibly imagine. They are beating up fucking people. They are killing people. These are the ones who are supposed to be fucking protecting people, and these assholes are out here doing this bullshit, and not a single motherfucking one of them has been fired? Like, you want to know, like, you want to know why so many people are throwing that ACAB out there, all cops are bad? It's because of motherfuckers like this. These are the people. Like, I know not every cop is bad. I've mentioned this before. I've got a good friend who's a cop, and I truly believe, I don't follow him around on duty, truly believe he is a very good person and he does the right thing. I do not believe all cops are bad, but there sure as shit are some bad ones out there just like these guys. There's no reason whatsoever these guys should not have been fired immediately. And who knows how many of these, what was the number, 1,400 cases or something that are tied to these people? How do we know how many of these are just bullshit claims? How many of these people that are dead shouldn't be dead? Probably all of them, but how many of them? How many people that got beat shouldn't have been beat? Like, it blows my goddamn mind. And we know for a fact that these type of people are in the police force. And even when we find them, even when there's evidence, even when there's fucking physical proof, nothing happens. This is the problem. This is the problem, people. Like, it's one thing to know that they're there, and it's one thing to not know where they're at. But when you know they're there and you know where they're at, you get the fuck rid of them. And I'm even going to take it beyond that. If these people are doing shit out there to people, and then shit they shouldn't be doing, they need to be arrested. They need to be tried. They need to be in fucking jail. This shit doesn't happen, but this is the problem. This is why people are over the top of this stuff. Because they just keeps happening. They'll get at best a slap on the wrist. They'll get put on, paid vacation for a month while they investigate it. And then they'll come back quietly. They'll get their job again. And they'll be out there beating up black people again.
They'll resign from this police department and get signed at another police department in 90 days.
Right,
again,
right.
Quietly, right? Like,
this is, I an hour ago, I just got off a call, an hour-long call at work. And it was specifically a conversation around social justice. It was an opportunity for people in my company to have an open dialogue about a bunch of shit that we're seeing happening in this world. And less than an hour later, here we are talking about these fucking assholes and what they're doing. And it's just so disheartening. It's infuriating, but it's disheartening. Because you know what? I'm in the clear. Like, they're probably not going to be my ass. I mean, for one, I'm not in California. But I got the right look. Although they might see the green hair, maybe they'll beat me up for that. I don't know. But there's a whole lot of people that are getting beat up. They're getting killed, not just in, what is this, Torrance or Clarence or whatever fucking California town this is. All over this damn country. Shit ain't okay, man. Just ain't okay.
And we censored a lot of what they said. If you go read that article and you read what they said, like, this is not.
Oh, it's horrible.
This is not one of those. Oh, well, that's no. Again, we're in the Lord's year of 2021. Like, you read those messages and you tell me how it's okay for somebody to say that. Because if you tell me that you think that's okay to say that, I would generally tell you, as many as we want, like the 6 listeners that we have, you can leave, because we don't need none of that.
Yeah, you can imagine the N-word getting tossed around left and right, but it goes way, way beyond that. And it's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. I'm spinning the wheel on these fucking people. We need something good. Give me something good. This is good, I think. Maybe WWE.
Well, This is everybody's favorite, the Zeke Elliott.
Zeke Elliott, feed me of the week.
So, everybody's friend, World Wrestling Entertainment, recently signed 15 college athletes to name, image, and likeness deals, rounding out its first ever class of up-and-coming amateur talent. The Sports Entertainment Promotion's new program is designed to recruit and develop potential future superstars and further enhance the WWE's talent development process. As part of the deals, all 15 athletes signed will have access to the WWE Performance Center in Orlando. They will also have access to resources to help them with brand building, media training, live event promotion, creative writing, and community relations. This move is the WWE's second step in the name, image, and likeness space. Its first came in September when they signed heavyweight freestyle wrestler and Olympic gold medalist Gable Stevenson to a multi-year deal. This individual will graduate in 2022 and upon graduating will begin an official contract with WWE. So basically what this is that there are athletes from, women's basketball to track and field to even professional or, college football. And this ranges from people who are like 5'5" track stars to 6'10", 400-pound offensive linemen, right? So when I read about this, I was like, I was kind of two minds in this. One part of me was like, cool, it's like WWE kind of doing a cash grab, right? Like they're trying to get people in the pipeline early. But then I also thought, like, this is kind of neat. Like if they're giving these people the opportunity to develop their brand, and obviously like WWE, for all of the good things they do and all of the bad things they do, they're a big brand. Like they know how to brand things. They know how to create people who are bigger than the brand. Are they ever going to let these people be bigger than the brand of WWE? No, but they're still going to give them tools and tricks and support to help them grow their own brands. So whether they end up in WWE or not, it's something that can still help them along the way. So I thought, like, my lean is that this is a good thing. What are your thoughts as you saw this?
Yeah, I hate to give Vince McMahon credit for anything, but I think this is a great idea. Like, instantly, my mind went to the UFC show that they used to have on TV. Maybe they still do. I don't remember what it was called. Fight Night or
It's like the Ultimate Fighter or something.
The toughest fighter or toughest, maybe Ultimate Fighter, maybe that's it. But basically what they did is they took all of these, like a group of people, and I watched this religiously early on and when it started because I loved UFC. I still do. I just don't watch it. So they'd take, 16 guys and they'd split them up into teams of 8 and they'd work out with a bunch of, with actual UFC fighters, and then someone would decide who fights that week. Whoever loses is gone, whoever wins goes on, so on and so forth. And then they just kind of work their way up and whatever. But throughout the first 2, 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it was that I watched it, like they ended up getting a huge chunk of big time wrestler or UFC fighters like that were headliners. Like you would find that the headliners for just about every single pay-per-view, and I'm talking like the top 3, 4, 5 matches have Ultimate Fighter champions in there, like fighters in there. And so it was like this huge influx of a way for them to bulk up their roster. And that was the first thought I had, right? Like, I don't know what the roster buildup of WWE is. I don't watch WWE. But I suspect it can't be easy to find a bunch of super athletic, big people, right? So to have the opportunity to do this, to kind of build a farm system, basically, I think it's super, super smart. And on top of that, I think it's great for these kids because how many of these kids are going to be professional athletes? Probably not a lot. It's not like they're going to, the starting offensive lineman for Alabama who's waiting on that first round draft pick, right? They're finding kids who probably aren't going to be professional athletes. Who knows whether or not they're good students? I mean, maybe they are, maybe they're not, but it's giving them an opportunity where first of all, you're getting some money, which is nice, but also you're getting a foot in the door. Like you're kind of getting hey, you've kind of got a free audition to come over and do this if it's something that you're into. So I think it's a win-win. I really like this idea.
Yeah, and the WWE, not to make this like WWE podcast, but they've recently kind of changed their focus with their developmental brand as to where in their developmental brand before they were really trying to sign like a lot of more of the like independent wrestlers and like the older wrestlers and like bringing them into like the WWE style. But now they're trying to go with like younger peoples. So like this I feel like fits right into that because like you said, some of these people, are they going to go on to be professionals in their sport, like the two women's basketball people? Like maybe they're going to go play in the WNBA so they don't end up in WWE for a while. But like the track and field folks, like if they don't end up on their national team, like sure, like you can go and be in WWE and go do whatever. So
Right.
it's kind of, again, like very like WWE centric, like they're going to get what they want to get out of it, but it's not that one-sided thing. Like these student athletes are going to get something out of it as well, which is why I thought this was a good opportunity.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. All right, I'm spinning.
Hey, we said something nice about Vince McMahon for once. So
I mean, Vince McMahon didn't make that decision. We said something good about someone else. Let's say some bad things about some other bad people. Antonio Brown and Aaron Rodgers.
Vince McMahon's probably like, pal, I don't know what you're talking. Nah, I'm Hulk Hogan. We're just gonna stop that. All right, so talk about Antonio Brown. So when Antonio Brown and two other players were suspended 3 games for violating the NFL's COVID-19 protocols agreed upon by the Owners and Players Association, media members and fans began comparing the punishments received by those players to old friend of the show and toe expert Aaron Rodgers.
They fucking suck.
While Brown and the other players provided the league with fake vaccine cards, a federal offense due to forgery of a federal seal, Rodgers and the Packers were aware of Rodgers' status the entire time, with Rodgers only lying to fans and media. Critics in this situation say that the NFL has had a poor history on race, especially when it comes to suspensions, including the suspension of Brown and the other players, but not Rodgers. Other individuals say that race was not at play here, as Brown should have had a harsher punishment due to actively lying to the league, as to where Rodgers, from all published accounts, followed the protocols other than the protocols that the Packers themselves allowed him to not follow.
Yep.
So
was that pause from? Oh.
No, I thought this was interesting because, like, this is kind of one of those situations that whatever your own narrative is, I think you can pick it here because there's a lot of people who are going to be like, yeah, an NFL is racist and they've been racist for a long time. And then there's other people who are going to be like, look, this dude like literally gave them a fake vaccine card. Like, is what Rodgers did like shady? Yes. However, he lied by omission and like lied to people, but he didn't lie to his employer. So therefore, shrug. My general thought on this is I think this honestly comes down to the status of the player, right? Like, let's say that it was Lamar Jackson who lied to the league, but he did everything in-house. Are they going to suspend Lamar Jackson? I don't know, right? Like, let's say that it's Cooper Kupp. Are they going to suspend Cooper Kupp? I don't know, right? Like, I think it's more about the fact that the league goes, it's Antonio Brown. No one cares. We're going to suspend him to make a point. But it's like, like I said, if Cooper Kupp had given the league a fake vaccine card, are they really going to suspend Cooper Kupp, who's on one of the better teams in the NFC? Right? Like, it's like, where does that line? Like, okay, let's use Tom Brady. Tom Brady's probably a better example. If Tom Brady was the one who gave them a fake vaccine card, are they suspending Tom Brady?
Not a chance in hell. Not a chance in hell. I think this all comes down from the one tweet that's in the. I think this whole article came about because of that one tweet. There's some dude who's like, Aaron Rodgers didn't get suspended, but these 3 dudes did. Are you wondering why? Just look at the picture. And basically saying there's 3 black guys and Aaron Rodgers is white. I think it's an asinine comment. I think the guy's an ass. I think he needs to have his Twitter credentials revoked. I don't know who the fuck he is, but it was a stupid argument to begin with. Does the NFL have a race problem? Absolutely. Right? Like 100%, absolutely. Is there a difference between breaking the rules and the law and just being an asshole. Yeah, there's a big difference, right? Like they forged a document. They had that, like they could be charged. They could go to jail for this, right? That's a whole lot different than telling the NFL that you're not vaccinated, telling your team you're not vaccinated, but lying to everybody else. It's a really, really big difference.
No, and the team going like, no, we're not going to make you follow this procedure, even though you should.
Yeah, so it's a very, very big different thing. So if Aaron Rodgers had given a fake vaccination card, I would hope he gets suspended. Same thing with Tom Brady. Right. I would hope you would. But then there's just different levels. Right.
Like if this is Zeke Elliott, like I don't think they're suspending Zeke Elliott, right? Like
I don't know. I mean, you broke the law and then you lied to the NFL. Aaron Rodgers didn't lie to the NFL.
Yeah.
And there's a big difference, right? The NFL said you have to be vaccinated. Aaron Rodgers said, "Hey, I'm not vaccinated." Antonio Brown said, "Yeah, I am. Look, here's my card." And there's a big difference there.
Right.
So I don't think it has anything to do with race. I think it's somebody's just trying to make something out of nothing. I'm spinning the wheel. This is dumb.
Welcome to 2021.
Yeah, I suppose. Let's talk about.
What do we got?
This is a good story that I'm gonna get mad about. This is the Dunkin Donuts story.
You're gonna get mad about it? I tried to get you something nice.
You must not have read my tweet that I put out on this.
Just like a Dunkin' Donuts employee in Ohio who received a huge surprise from one of her loyal customers, a fully furnished home. Employee Ebony Johnson met customer Suzanne Burke at the drive-thru window 3 years ago. The two chatted every time that Burke came for coffee, and then they became friendly. When Burke found out that Johnson, who is a mother of 3, had fallen on difficult times and was evicted from her home, Burke made it her mission to help, reaching out to different organizations that can help people who are experiencing difficult times. So in that process, they were able to connect the lady who had been evicted with a home, and now they actually have somewhere to be for Christmas. So on its face, this is a good story. Do we have all of the details? No. But I tried to get you something nice, so why are you mad? Tell me why you're mad.
I mean, what kind of fucking country do we live in, B? Where some woman's out there working, doing her best to raise her family, and she gets her ass kicked out of her house and she has to have someone buy her house. This is a problem. This is a problem. She shouldn't have to be homeless with how many kids? 3 kids. What? Are you serious? What kind of fucking country do we live in? Now, that said, this is a great story. It's amazing that this woman was in a position where she could help this woman and her family. There's a video. I think there's a video on this article too, so you can watch the video. I don't remember where I saw it, but it's a great video. The kids come in and they actually have beds they can sleep on, and I think they had clothes and toys and stuff. It's an amazing story, and good for her and good for the women that helped her out. That's amazing. But where my initial, and I might talk about this in my extra point too, but where my mind went is we're in a country where you have to do this, where this woman, and I don't know, maybe she works 2 hours a day and maybe that's why she, can't afford anything. I don't know. But assuming she's out there and she's working a full-time job and she can't take care of her family. That's a goddamn problem. This is a huge problem in this country. So yes, there's a lot of good in this story, but where my mind went is some of the ugly that comes along with it. So, but at least she's, they got a home for Christmas. So let's leave it on a happy note.
Yeah, that's where my brain always goes. It's what led these individuals to this situation, because that's what I want to help too, because it's yes, we need to take care of your immediate needs right now, but how do we troubleshoot things so that we don't end up in this position in a month or 2 months or 6 months or whatever, right?
Right. All right.
We spinning?
We're spinning. We got a little bit of time. We got to get mad about something. Let's get mad about fucking New Hampshire. Tell me about New Hampshire, B.
Are you putting in the DOT? So which one do we want here? Do we want the DOTW or do we want our other new one?
Oh, wait, DOTW, Dick of the Week, is that the one?
Yeah.
I think we're gonna go with this one. The Wee Random Dick of the Week. Yeah, Dick of the Week.
So, a new teacher loyalty bill introduced in New Hampshire would, among other things, prohibit teaching that the United States was founded on racism. The New Hampshire bill also prohibits, quote, any doctrine or theory promoting a negative account or representation of the founding and history of the United States of America, which does not include the worldwide context of now outdated and discouraged practices. So, supporters of the bill are promoting it as an effort to stop critical race theory from indoctrinating K-12 students. Those who oppose the bill believe it is actually a push to censure truthful information about American history. So, in reading about this bill, basically what you find is that people are saying, oh, like you can't teach about slavery unless you also talk about slavery being something that happened all around the world, when history textbooks say, oh, well, this country stopped slavery in this year, and this country stopped slavery in this year, and America stopped slavery X number of years later. But you can't teach that in this new world because that's, I don't know. So basically, that I sum this up is history is written by the victor. And the victor right now is people who want it to be that they came to America and they made this a great country, and they didn't give people smallpox blankets and whatever else history books have told you for hundreds of years. They want it to be like, we came and we made this country great and everyone's great and let's hold each other's hand and all of these things, when instead of learning from our history and understanding the traumas that other people have had, we're basically going, that never existed. We've always been great to each other.
Let me read this quote. The primary sponsor of the bill, Representative Alicia Lekas, told some newspaper that the provision requires teachers to explain away slavery in the United States because it was ubiquitous worldwide. Here's the quote. I might not read the whole thing. Maybe I will. Slavery was a terrible thing. But why the fuck do you need a but there? Okay, slavery was a terrible thing. But a lot of people don't know slavery happened all over the world. That's the setting you need to be teaching. If you're going to teach about the founding of the country, you need to teach it in its proper setting. So you know what's happening in the rest of the world, so you have a better idea of why people did the way they did. That doesn't make sense, but that's what the quote is listed as. So I think she's got a really good point. I think she does. So if we think about a famous person from our history, George Washington, he killed people. He actually killed people, right? And if we think about that Derek Chauvin guy or whatever, that cop in Minnesota, he killed a person too. So that Derek Chauvin guy and George Washington, they're pretty much the same because they both just killed a guy. What the fuck are you talking about? What? Like what? What?
So again, apparently, because this is this honestly goes back to the well, if this person can use this word, then why can't I use this word? Oh my God, you can't say that John Gruden can't say that word because Eminem says that word. So if Eminem can say that word, why can't John Gruden say that word? If there was slavery at some point in Spain, why do you not say that they had slaves in Spain, 100 years before we stopped having slaves whatever it is, right?
This is just let's just call it what it is. This is the whitewashing of history. That's exactly what this is. It's people who unfortunately look similar to me without the green hair. Thank you, Wiggum. Trying to make history as white as possible. That's exactly what this is. They want to whitewash history more than they already have, because let's be honest, history's been whitewashed time and time again. They're trying to whitewash it even more, and it's ridiculous.
But the travesty is that it's not about whitewashing it now. It's about trying to make themselves look good in the process. It's about trying to highlight, well, we did all of these good things, and all of these people, we helped them. And the reason that they were slaves, Trevor Noah skit that he did about this, and it's like, it was basically like a slave master talking to a slave, and like how they want people to spin this. And this skit was like 6 months ago, but this is basically what this is, right? Like, and the whole thing was like, well, why are you making this about race? I'm not making this about race. It's all about you. Like, you're making this. I'm just trying to do whatever. Like, this is what's happening here. Like, it's ridiculous. And the really crappy part is that people are buying it, and we're going to see in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, we're going to have an entire generation of children who don't know any better because they've only been taught this way.
Right. Emily, you hit the nail on the head, right? It feels like they're trying to justify slavery. Like America had slavery because everyone else did. You're 100% right. But here's the bitch of it, is I guarantee you, this is just step one. Like, their end goal isn't to get to a point where everyone says, okay, so slavery wasn't that bad because everyone else was doing it. That's not the end goal. The end goal, like, they can't go to their end goal right now, which is slavery didn't even exist. That's where they're trying to get to, right? Is where slavery doesn't get talked about. That's their end goal. But they can't get there. I mean, for Christ's sake, there are still people alive today who were slaves, for fuck's sake, right? You can't make that jump. So they're very slowly starting to tiptoe into that. And let's start with, well, slavery was bad, but you know what? It was bad, and it was all over the place. So we just didn't know any better, right? And then slowly that's going to evolve to the point where they want it to be that slavery wasn't there. Like, none of this stuff happened. White people are perfectly okay. We've done great things. We colonized this country. There was nobody here. Nobody existed. Watch out. Fucking get out of my way. Nobody was here when we got here. This is our place. We built it from nothing. We did it all by ourselves, and we were in our fields picking all those crops and everything. That's what they want to get to, right? I can probably stop running down that road, but that's the goal. That's where they want to get to, is continue to shine the bright light of heaven on all the white people, and completely gloss over and hide any of those atrocities that we've perpetrated over our history. And I'm even going to say our, even though I had nothing to do with it, but it's our white people history. That's the shit that we did. And we have to own that. And we sure as shit can't forget it. And we can't get to a point where we're not allowing people to learn it. And that's really where they're trying to go with all of this stuff, this fight against critical race theory, which 90% of the people fighting against it, they don't even know what critical race theory is, for fuck's sake.
No,
but that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to hinder the education so that eventually the stuff can just get swept away and it's not even going to be an issue anymore.
And that's disgusting.
It is. And we can't let it happen. I don't know what the fuck I can do to stop it, but we cannot let that happen.
I know what you can do. What
am I going to do?
You are going to take your next door personality, and you are going to now, I'm a man with power.
Well, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I think on that note, it's time that we move on to a happier subject, B.
True.
Unless there's actually a happy topic on here you want to talk about, but I don't know that there is.
I mean, I like birds aren't real, but we can kind of. No. The one that I really like is the Texas karaoke machine, but we'll just move to random rankings.
All right. We owe the patrons an extra time. We're like way overdue. But B is really, really busy this week, so you might just have to listen to me after my job. But we're gonna come up with something. But instead, it is time. B, are you ready for?
Oh yeah, random rankings.
Random rankings times, everybody. So if you're not aware, random rankings is, well, it's more random than it is rankings, right? Like, we kind of throw everything into this area. But I'm not going to steal any of the thunder, because one of us created a great idea for random rankings, and it sure as shit wasn't me. B, what do we got for random rankings?
So, as Skonzii introduced, random rankings is sometimes where we rank things, sometimes where we draft things, sometimes where we yell and get mad about things online. But for today, we're going back to our roots.
Yes.
And by that I mean we are drafting a food. So,
food time.
We are doing the best Christmas cookies draft. Ahead of Time came up with a list of 30 Christmas cookies that they think are the best, and we are going to rank them. So, what Skonzii and I are going to do is we're just going to draft until we decide we don't want to draft anymore. Now, do we want to do this as kind of just back and forth? Do we want to do this as kind of like Snake? How do we want to do it?
I think back and forth for this one makes sense.
Okay, cool.
I'm putting
All
it.
right.
I'm putting it in the randomizer. Actually, I could probably put it over here so you guys see that I don't cheat. We got the randomizer. Let me zoom way in. There we go. We've got a B and we got a C. And then we're going to randomize. Oh, yeah. B goes first.
All right. So I am going to take what you probably will think is a little bit of an odd choice, but this is the iconic Christmas cookie for me at Christmas. And it is the Christmas sugar cookies with royal icing. Now, the reason that I say that that is the iconic cookie of Christmas for me is because when I was a child, my grandmother every year would send us in the postal mail, yes, the postal mail, Christmas sugar cookies that she made with icing. So that was always a very exciting part of Christmas for me, getting that package of cookies that I get to eat over days and days and days, and they were always like soft and chewy and delicious. So when I think of Christmas cookies, like that's where my heart goes.
Yeah. So, when I think of Christmas cookies, that's what I think of too. Except I really don't care for the mail that much. So I'm glad that you took those because I wasn't going to. I am 100% on the lookout for good sugar Christmas cookies though. So make sure you send them my way. Anyway, I've got I put a list in here of different ones. In my opinion, B wins the draft with pick one. Well, in your opinion doesn't count, old man Wickham. I think I'm going to go with, and I'm going to flip through this kind of quick to get to it, so hopefully I don't make anybody dizzy, so close your eyes if you need to. I'm going to go with these just because they're so iconic. Just the look of it screams Christmas, and that's these peanut butter blossom things.
Oh, you stole the peanut butter blossoms from me.
I'm not big on peanut butter to begin with, so, it's odd. Like, I'm much more interested in the Christmas candies than the cookies. I like the cookies, but generally not super over crazy about them. This is one that, again, I wouldn't say this is my favorite cookie ever, but it's like quintessential Christmas.
Yeah, that's my wife's favorite one. She loves making them every year. So,
well, when she makes some, B, bring some right over.
Well, you know that we've had a delay this year, so we'll see what we can do. But all right, so you got that. Now I am going to go with another kind of Christmassy type cookie that it's not one that you would eat like just generally throughout the year, but at Christmas time, you definitely want a little bit of this, and that is the soft and chewy ginger cookie. Now, what's funny about this is that I looked at this and they had the soft and chewy ginger cookie and then they had the gingerbread cookie right after it. And I'm like, what the fuck is the difference between this? And then they're like, oh, the gingerbread cookie is soft on the inside and hard on the outside. And I said, you can take that gingerbread cookie and you can throw it straight in the fucking trash. Because I want that soft and chewy ginger cookie.
Where the hell is it? Did I pass it? Oh, there it is. Soft ginger cookie. All right. Well, I'm going to speed through here pretty quickly. This is not a Christmas thing at all, but you're putting M&M cookie bars on this list. I'm taking those things every goddamn time. Because first of all, the bars are better than cookies because I like them to be as soft and moist as possible, right? That's what really makes good cookies in my mind. And the bars are generally much softer than the cookies themselves. So, and I guess it's red and green. That's why they put this on here. I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, it's just a chocolate chip cookie bar, which is heaven in my book. Like, that's what I'm all about. I'm all about the cookie bars. So, yeah, this is a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, those were on my list, so I've deleted them from my list, and now I've actually put my list in rank order. Those of you who know me should not be surprised by that at all. But I have a couple of cookies that are like not Christmassy specific, and then one cookie that is more of a Christmas specific. So I'm going to draft that one first because, again, Christmas draft. I am going to go with the pecan snowball cookie. So
You
that
son of a bitch.
So it says sweet and nutty pecan snowball cookies are little melt in your mouth balls of buttery shortbread with nuts. Again, that's not necessarily something that I'm gonna eat like most of the year, but those are a cookie that I always will go for when people just have like those little tins of
Yes.
cookies. I'm
yes.
like, yes, that one.
Yeah. Dang, B, that one hurt. That one hurt. I'm going to go up to the second one listed. I don't exactly know what this is. I don't know what a Linzer cookie is. But it says they're buttery, which just sounds good. It says it's shortbread, and I love frickin' shortbread. And it's got fruit jam in it, so that just sounds frickin' amazing to me. So I'm going with that Linzer cookie with fruit jam. Just sounds It sounds legit to me.
So now I feel like we've kind of entered the, like, these really aren't Christmas cookies.
Right.
But I'm thinking we're gonna go, I've got two. So I'm gonna take this one because I think you would take this one more so than the other one. But I'm gonna go with the chocolate crinkle cookie, which the chocolate crinkle cookie is a tender, chewy chocolate cookie that tastes like a rich fudgy brownie with a crackly crust that's coated in sugar.
Yeah, I did not have that on my list, but that is definitely a winner right there, I think. Old Man Wiggum says you're losing him with your pecan snowballs, which was an amazing pick. So I don't know what's going on with Wiggum. I'm starting to think if Wiggum makes cookies, I probably don't want any because they might be horrible. I don't know.
They'll just taste like broccoli.
Oh, damn. What the hell is a shortbread cookie bite? I have no idea, but it's shortbread, and it looks like it's a cookie bar. I'm taking one. Christmas shortbread cookie bites on my list.
Nice. All right. Now, see,
I agree, Emily. Pecan snowballs are delicious.
I'm in a little bit of a, how many cookies are we drafting, I guess is a good question.
Let's do two more and then call it.
Oh, that doesn't help me.
Gotta make you decide, B.
All right. Well, I guess I'm gonna go with the, let's see. I literally have like 8.
Holy smokes, B.
I'm gonna go with the soft and chewy white chocolate cranberry cookies.
I don't know where that is.
Again, you can kind of see the theme on my list. Soft and chewy, soft and chewy, soft and chewy. Right?
Yeah. Which one is this? Soft and chewy what?
White chocolate cranberry.
White chocolate cranberry. Oh, there they are. Okay. Those were not on my list.
Figured.
I'm going to go with some more shortbread, man, because I love shortbread. So
You're just racking up the
there's
shortbread.
so many shortbread cookies. Cranberry orange shortbread cookies. Like I'm a little bit, I don't know about this one. Like this is not my normal fare, but it's shortbread. And yeah, I think this looks good. I might actually make this one. That's how interested I am by this.
You should. All right.
Last pick.
I'm torn now between cookies that I've had and a cookie that I've never had. So I don't feel like I can draft the cookie that I've never had. So instead, I will go with something that probably would be made in my house in December, and that's the pumpkin chocolate chip cookie.
I think that's way down here somewhere, isn't it? Chocolate chip. Nobody picked this biscotti shit.
It's hard.
It is very hard. That's like dip it in your
it's good for coffee.
This one's got freaking Jolly Rancher in it. Like, why would you want a cookie with Jolly Rancher in it?
Right.
Which one am I looking for? I don't know what you picked.
Pumpkin chocolate chip.
Pumpkin chocolate chip. Is it way on the bottom or something?
Yeah, it's probably way on the bottom.
All right. Well, we're just gonna pretend that we know what it is. Congratulations, B. Oh, I should have grabbed these raspberry truffles. I didn't go that far down. Oh, it's right below the pumpkin chocolate chip.
Well, you can grab them now because you still got a last pick.
Well, yeah, I was gonna go with something different, but now I'm taking those things because that's amazing. Dark
So what
chocolate.
were you gonna go with?
Raspberry truffles. Hell yeah, truffles are the deal. I was gonna go with. I'm gonna go really fast. Chance, close your eyes. There it is. I was gonna go with these guys. The jam-filled thumbprint cookie with almond
Thumbprints.
glaze.
Okay.
Huh? Yeah.
I was gonna go with the chocolate chip banana bread cookies.
Oh, I didn't see those either.
Yeah.
All right, so
I mean, there's so many good cookies on here.
there are. All right, Chad, this is what we got. I will recap it for you. B's got the Christmas sugar cookies with royal icing. Old Man Wigham's a big fan. He's also got the soft and chewy ginger cookies, the pecan snowball cookies. Emily's a big fan of those. Chocolate crinkle cookies, the soft and chewy white chocolate cranberry cookies, and the pumpkin chocolate chip cookies. And then I've got the peanut butter blossom, the quintessential Christmas cookie. The M&M cookie bars, which are not Christmas at all, but they're delicious. The Linzer cookies with fruit jam, Christmas shortbread cookie bites, the cranberry orange shortbread, and the dark chocolate raspberry truffles. The pick of the night, as far as I'm concerned. It looks like B's winning this one. He's got a lot of positive votes. For all those people voting for B, I just have to say.
That was one of the stupidest things that I've ever seen anybody post on the internet before.
We're probably gonna get DMCA'd for playing that song, but I had to do it.
Why would we get DMCA'd? Is that like an official song?
I don't know. I was thinking about shooting the guy a message on TikTok and asking him if he could play it, but we'll just see what happens. Anyway, with that, I think it's time for B to give us his extra point.
All right. Now that I'm seeing like four of me.
What the fuck is going on here?
I don't know. Is this accurate? Okay, there I am. Now I'm just a single person. But so as we head into our holiday hiatus, I just want to chat with y'all for a minute. So I was reading last night a Players Tribune article about former professional wrestler John Huber that was written by his wife, and it was talking about his journey and like what he did. And one of the things that she shared that was kind of interesting to me, that like really hit me, was that obviously their relationship, she described it, she's like, it was a little bit tumultuous and like we fought a lot, but like he took the step to get help at one point. And one of the things that he needed help with was that he lost a parent very early in life. And one of his biggest traumas was that he didn't want to commit to anything because he was deathly afraid that he would also be gone and leave other people that trauma. Now, for those of you who don't know, this man died at 41 years old. So she says like the most messed up part about this entire situation is the biggest thing that he feared in life, and one of the biggest things that was a challenge in their entire relationship, is what actually happened to him. But the part that she looked at it, she's like, you can either look at it in that very pessimistic view, or you can look at it in the positive view that he took this concern that he had head on. He was a great father for the time that he was alive. He was a great person for the time that he was alive to their family, and he put in that work. So even though the thing that he was most afraid of ended up happening to him, he still made something of his life. And I think that's important for all of us, because we all are waiting for the right time to do something. We're all afraid of different things in our life. We're all concerned, well, if I make this decision, what's going to happen, and what's that going to lead me to, and what am I going to do? And the clock's ticking. No matter what we do, the clock is ticking. So just fucking do it. Like, you want to take time off to enjoy the holidays? Just fucking do it. If you're wanting to make a change in your life, just do it. If you're thinking about someone and you want to send them a message to say, hey, I've been thinking about you. How are you doing? Just do it. Because if we don't take care of the things that we need to take care of now, there's no guarantee that we're going to be around to take care of them tomorrow. So that's my ask of you tonight as we go on our hiatus. And one of the reasons that we're going on our hiatus is so that we can take some time for ourselves. So that's us just fucking doing it. Because we could be here next week. We could be here the week after. But we're going to give ourselves those couple weeks, and we're going to give you those couple weeks. So instead of being here on Tuesday night at 7 o'clock, you can spend time with somebody that you love. Instead of listening to this on your car ride, you can listen to something else, maybe some Christmas music, maybe whatever. Like, you know, just do it, man. Like, we appreciate you. We care about you. That's what's on my heart today. I am going to turn this over to Skonzii and say thank you, and we will talk to you in 2022.
Thanks for that, B. For those who weren't aware, Brian's extra point this week was brought to you by Nike. Just do it. So I'm going to go on a little bit of a whirlwind here. I promise I'm going to end on something maybe a little bit inspirational and hopeful, but really kind of the idea of when we, as I get invited to an Apex game from Joe. Part of the reason of the extra point thing here was around just sharing whatever's on our mind, whatever's going on in the world, whatever's going on in our world. It's just open-ended, whatever we feel like talking about. And I kind of alluded to this a little bit when we talked about the Dunkin' Donuts story. So one thing that's really been on my mind a lot is work, and not necessarily my work, but work in general, and the way that work has, the way it's taken over our lives, at least a lot of people's lives, maybe not everybody here, maybe not everybody, on Brian and on my side, but, we find ourselves as a country really in a position where we have to work to live. We're not living to work, right? Like some people love what they do. Some people enjoy what they do. Some people hate what they do. Some people are doing what they truly want to do, but a lot of people aren't. And situations like the one that we talked about with the Dunkin' Donuts thing, where there's a lady who's out there busting her ass, doing everything she can to take care of her family, and she can't do it because of the, the what she's getting paid. She's not getting paid enough. We live in a country where, a living wage just doesn't really exist for a whole lot of people. And this is a problem. I keep seeing all these stories about companies who are trying to unionize. We had a story on here about Starbucks, the first Starbucks unionized in New York, I think it was. Just the other day, we had horrendous tornadoes that went through the Midwest, and we've got an Amazon facility in Illinois that crashed, that got destroyed, and a candle factory in Kentucky, I think it was, that got destroyed. And in both of them, there are stories from the employees coming out saying, we were told we would get fired if we left. There are people that died in these fucking buildings, but people are afraid to leave because these big, huge companies are telling them you're going to get fired if you stop working. I don't know that I can put into words how I feel about this. It's how is this an okay thing? How is this a life anybody wants to live through? I don't know. And we're also in the middle of what's being called the Great Resignation. There's a lot of people who I think throughout this pandemic have realized what I'm doing isn't what I want to be doing. What I'm doing doesn't fulfill me, doesn't excite me, doesn't engage me. This isn't what I want to do for a living. I'm just doing what I need to do to survive. And there should be more to life than that. Life shouldn't be, I'm doing what I can to survive. Every time somebody asks me how my day's going or what I've been up to, my answer shouldn't be, well, it's the same fucking thing every day. I wake up, I work, I stream a little bit at night, I go to bed, I wake up, I work, I stream a little bit at bed. That's it. That's my life. Like, this is me personally, that's where I'm at. And a lot of people are in the same thing. We're just in this rut. And I guess my message, I'm trying to spin this in a positive direction, is, this is a time of year where whether you're religious, whether you're not, I am not in any way, shape, or form religious. But I love this time of year because to me, this time of year is really about hope. I believe that this is a time of year where people can count their blessings. They can look at their life and see what's working, what's not working. I think that New Year's is a time for renewal. I know that it's just an arbitrary date in a lot of ways, but whenever we're doing anything in our lives, there's a start time, right? And sometimes having a predefined time to start something is beneficial, whether you want to call them resolutions, whether you want to call them, new personal goals, whatever the case may be. This time of year is also a time of renewal and a time of starting and a time of engaging in something new and bettering ourselves. I just think that this is a very special time of year. And I feel this year more than any other year in my past, however many years I've been around, like 22 or something. This year, that's much more apparent to me, in part because of where I am emotionally, but because of where I see this country and where I see people close to me. So I guess my message and my ask of all of you as we take our break is, I hope that you're able to find time this holiday season to find your peace and find your happiness. Maybe it's there for you all the time. Maybe it's there for you every day. Maybe it's there for you right now. And if that's the case, God bless you. I think it's great that you have that. For a lot of people, that isn't the case. And I hope that throughout the holidays, you're able to find some of that, whatever that may be, whatever it is that you need, whether it's taking time to yourself, spending time with family, giving and receiving gifts, whatever it may be. I hope that you're able to find that. And I hope that this period of potential renewal, or even if it's not renewal, even if you're on a path that you enjoy and that you're good with, then maybe it's just a refresh and a reset to keep moving where you're going. Whichever the case may be, I hope that you find that as well. And I'm gonna miss you all over the course of the next few weeks, but we will be back. And like I said, next week we will be dropping our re-random episode. But all of that is stuff that Brian's going to talk about, so I'm going to hand it back over to him.
Awesome. So, as Skonzii told all of you, you can find us all over social media. Skonzii is on Amazon Sidewalk, as you all know. You can also find him on Twitter at Skonzii. You can find me on Twitter at LandmarkMKE. Find the podcast AQ_PROD. You can find Skonzii's content on YouTube. You can find the podcast in your favorite podcast app, searching We Random. If you miss us over the break, please reach out to us. Let us know how you're doing. Let us know your sources of renewal. We're always happy to hear from any of you. And until 2022, we wish you a happy, a safe, and an enjoyable end of your year. In 2022, when everyone's hopeful, just when you think that you've had enough hope, we'll be back to get mad online about these motherfuckers who want to make this country a shithole. I'm kidding.
Well, there you go. That's how we're ending it right there.
We love you. Have a great night. We'll talk to you in 2022.
See you, everybody.